Legislators' work was abbreviated this week due to spring break, but I talked to eCapitol News Director Sean Ashley about what did happen at the Capitol. Sean, what did lawmakers do this week?
Well, on the surface, it appears they did very little. There were no bills or joint resolutions heard on the floor of either the House or the Senate, although a couple of resolutions were considered by each. Most of the work was taking place in the back rooms, and I don't mean deal-making in the back rooms, but as you'll recall, a couple of weeks ago was the deadline for bills to be heard in their chamber of origin on the floor. Now those bills are moving to the opposite chamber for consideration. Before that takes place, first the bills have to be assigned to committee by the floor leaders. That was occurring during this week. And then members who are concerned about their bill, perhaps they heard some arguments that they thought were valid and some changes needed to be made in that bill, are having it redrafted. Either it will be presented to a committee as a committee substitute, or perhaps there will be some amendments proposed in committee to fix that bill in a way in which it will be passed. What we'll soon see is the fruit of those labors.
Legislators usually work half a day on Thursday and then they're finished with the week. They took off after Wednesday.
That's right. Neither the House nor the Senate met on Thursday or Friday. Part of that, of course, was because this was spring break. The other part was to give staff the time to write those various committee substitutes and get those amendments in order.
The Senate Finance Committee passed along a bill that concerns the Compete with Canada Film Act. Tell us about that.
Right. That has been one of the bigger debates of this legislative session, first in House in Appropriations and Budget, then on the House floor, and now in the Senate Finance Committee. This bill provides rebates to filmmakers and for various components of their production. This includes a sales tax rebate for some of the purchases that they make. It also includes a rebate for certain hires of local workers to work on these films. During the Senate Finance Committee, a comparison was made by Senator Cliff Aldridge, a Republican from Midwest City, of the film rebate to that of the oil and gas industry. Senator Clark Jolly pointed out there are two entirely different tax programs. The oil and gas measure is a tax credit, and it's designed to support an ongoing industry in the state of Oklahoma. The film aspect is a rebate, and it's designed first to bring those film projects into Oklahoma and then encourage them to hire local workers on those films.
There was also an interesting hearing about a painting that's in a major collection at OU.
Right. At the Fred Jones Museum of Art down in Norman, there is a painting that appears to have been one which was looted by the Nazis during World War II. At present, the university's foundation is being sued over the ownership of that painting in federal court in New York. The House Government Modernization and Accountability Committee was told that right now OU is working through that legal process. Their first question is federal court in New York the appropriate place for the issue to be heard? And the second question is whether or not the true ownership of that painting has been properly established. Once those issues are resolved, the representative from OU said that the process would continue to move forward. Some of the members of the committee, including newly appointed chairman of the committee, Mike Reynolds, are concerned that there are also other paintings within the OU collection that could face similar challenges, and they want to see what the university is doing in terms of dealing with those as well.
What's on the agenda for next week?
Next week, we'll be back in committees working through these bills as they've been passed from one chamber to the other. On Monday appears to be a very busy day already. The Senate Education Committee will take up the Common Core repeal measure, and the Senate Pension Committee will also be dealing with a number of the pension reform proposals passed from the House to the Senate.
Sean Ashley, News Director at eCapitol. Thank you.
You're very welcome.